exactly some of the things that I learned today. Now, as promised, what I will also do is go through the presentation that I taught today. I want to walk you through that presentation. I want to teach that to you. So if you're here with me, excellent. If you're not, that's okay. You can catch this maybe perhaps on the replay, depending on how I'm feeling. So let's go ahead and get into this. We will go ahead and talk about exactly what I learned today. All right, so let's go ahead and share our screen. If you have any questions, feel free to throw them in. I'm kind of awake, so I have no problem answering any questions that you might have. All right, so what we're going to do is we will come on over here. All right, we'll come to this. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to talk about what I learned today, and I'm going to go right down the list. All right, and then I'll get into my presentation. This is the exact presentation that I shared. Now, I did a lot of, I do a lot of off the cuff. Like, I do this stuff every single day. Like, I was sharing my actual process because it's the only thing I know by heart, right? So what I was sharing was the actual process that I utilize for a lot of my clients. Depending on the competition range, it's just going to determine the level of intensity that I'm going to perform the actions that we'll talk about. But let's more so talk about some of the other experts that were there. The very first person to talk today at today's conference was Kyle Roof. Now, Kyle Roof, unfortunately, I was pretty sad, actually. I was pretty sad, right? Kyle, I love Kyle. He changed a lot of things for me. He gave what I was doing a name. Like, I don't know. He made it cool to be like the stuff I was doing. It's like, oh, there's other people doing this kind of stuff, right? Like counting stuff, trying things out, testing things out. I really wanted to meet Kyle. So I think he's supposed to be here tomorrow. So that would be super cool. So in any case, Kyle had an ultra polished presentation today, right? His was a stream. It was polished. It was edited. It was very well done, very high quality presentation that had slides, like built-in slides, like head with slides, and it had a storyline, right? Very well thought out. It looks like this is going to be his presentation for a while, right? So Kyle's presentation, though, unfortunately, and this is only one man. We all see the same thing through different eyes, right? But for me, for some people, I'm sure it was awesome. There was a lot there. Don't get me wrong. But basically, the main nugget, and that's really what I'm sharing here, is what I've learned today, or some of the nuggets from the presentations. The main nugget was, which I thought was cool, was he actually gave his formula for these silo pages. Now, I know that he actually coined his own name. He calls them virtual silos. I actually was calling them floating silos. I'm sure we have no correlation. Like, I'm sure he was doing his thing, I was doing my thing, but I was calling them floating silos. He does his own type of silos, but in the presentation, it was very well thought out. It was about the gentleman that was selling like stuff for like photo cameras and stuff. It was a really unique story. But in any case, with that being said, one of the pieces that I wrote down here, I don't know if you could see that, was Kyle Silos. What he utilizes is he has one piece of pillar content, or the main topic of the content. And then what he's doing is he's utilizing 5 to 8 separate pages in order to support that. So typical structure silo, I personally only do 3. But of course, I mean, hey, if Kyle's doing 5 to 8, you best believe that I'm going to go out there and try 5 to 8 and see if that's a competitive advantage, right? More generally is not always better. But in this case, maybe it could potentially bring in more keywords, more supporting keywords. And he did make a point to state that, do what makes sense, right? So I thought that was pretty cool. I like that he gave a specific number. Generally, SEOs won't give a specific number. So I thought that was pretty darn cool. Now, the next one was this. Now, Ted had a lot to say. What's really cool about this is I had a word with Ted, and I know I'm up on their platform, and I have programs, but I had a chance to literally speak to Ted. If you don't know, Ted is the creator of Quora. It's a correlation software. He also obviously must have another software that's called volatility, SEO volatility checker. It's like a rank tracker that actually samples the SERP for volatility. Super cool, man, right? In any case, I had the opportunity to speak with this gentleman. So I look in the near future for us. Maybe I could get on his show. He has a show called SEO Fight Club. Very open, great guy. I'll probably bring him on. This dude is a wealth of knowledge. Like literally, like there's a guy in there that was doing a presentation today, and like everybody was looking at Ted. It was very hysterical. It was pretty funny. It was pretty funny. They're like watching him. And I'm not going to lie, on the one question, I forget exactly what the question was. I even looked like, well, what does Ted think? I thought that was funny. The guy's super respected. Definitely here. I think I like a lot of what he has to say. So he's in my camp too. He's in the IMG camp. He's with that batch. He's on that side. So I definitely like a lot of what he has to say. All right. So in any case, what did Ted, what I wrote down here is he made such a valid point regarding traffic bots. Now, there's different modes of traffic bots and how they search, like their types of browsers, right? One of the main pieces or one of the elements is there's like JavaScript ones, there's headless browsers, there's Chromium, yada, yada, yada. Now, one of the checks, this is what I wrote down here, right here where it says Ted. He said a lot and there was a lot of info, but something that I wanted to make sure that I wrote down, and I knew this already, but I didn't, right, was the RTC video conference, right? Full-featured browsers have the ability of all of these different features, right? So as a check, as a browser check, right, in order to determine if it's a bot or not, they're checking to see if it is containing a lot of these features. Now, a lot of these browsers don't contain this, okay? So I thought that this was very interesting. So the nugget here is if you're looking at bots, is it a full feature bot? Is it running headless? Like how is it scraping and rendering and going to these pages? Is it headless? Is it like, what is it doing? And just make sure that it can render video along with images and things along those lines. And this is another very important piece, and I'm glad that I've been doing it. A lot of times bots will allow you to shut things off in order for the software to run faster. Now, you could potentially be doing yourself a disservice, right? This makes a ton of sense, due to the fact that it's looking for these features to determine if it's a bot. So I thought that was worth mentioning and writing down. Now, I wrote other notes too, but this is what I can share tonight, okay? Now, Clint, another great guy. I had the opportunity to speak to this gentleman. Absolutely phenomenal. He has a channel. I never spoke on his channel before, but I do catch some of his shows on SEO Fight Club. I believe he has another show called Digital Lear, right? No. So check out his name, man. This guy's really good. Very serious guy. He was in the military for 22 years. So, you know, I'm assuming that, you know, military guy, right? Great guy, though. Super nice. They're just a great, nice guy. In any case, with that being said, what he did was schema, right? And Clint is known for doing schema, at least publicly. What he did, though, that I like doing schema. I like implementing advanced schema. I write my own custom schema. So there was nothing new there. However, you guys watch me, you and gals. So, you know, I might know how to implement it, but something that he was doing that I don't do, and I could just be, you know, in my own world, which probably I am, he actually had made a hierarchy. Now, he pointed out something, and I want to go ahead and show you this. And I knew this already, but I thought this would be interesting to go ahead and share with you. I want you to come over here to, hopefully you can see my screen here. I want to go ahead and share something with you. I did know this already, but I wrote it down because I knew I was making a video tonight. Okay, so let me go ahead and share this with you. Sorry, this is my little boy's computer. I took it with me on my trip. So if something happened, I'll just buy him a new one. These things are like 80 bucks. So bear with me here. It's not the best. I was not bringing my MSI. And anyway, one moment here. Also, there's a place in town here, man. Boy, do they have a delicious cheesesteak. Now, I'm from Pennsylvania, and I go to Tony Luke's, and I've eaten tons of cheesesteaks. Let me make sure I turn this on or off. Oh, they did turn it on. Wow, okay. Usually I turn them off for streams, but don't let me get off track. In any case, so Clint Butler. So Clint, great guy, very nice guy, great talk. He actually was walking through Schema, and he shared something that I was not doing, right? But I will certainly start doing. I'll share a piece of that with you. I don't know if that's like trademark knowledge or something. I'm sure it's not. But let me share with you one of the things. Now, a piece that I wrote down that I want to share with my group and anybody that has taken the time to watch tonight, I want to make sure I can give you some value here. What he pointed out, which I already know, but it's a great point, is when you go to Schema, bear with me here. Sorry, guys. Schema.org. All right. So when you're on schema.org, I want you to take a look here. And when we're looking at the documentation and we're looking at the types, okay, you come in here to schemas. Something that he pointed out that I haven't pointed out before in videos, right? But it was something I was looking at is this. So when you come in here and you take a look at the list, just take a look at this. What I want to show you is this. Okay, so open hierarchy. Okay, so the very first thing is the hierarchy of your schema and how it's built into the page. Come back. Don't worry. I'm back. Sorry. This thing's weird, man. Like, it's got a trackpad, but special, like if you touch it 3 times or one in the corner and one down here, it'll do something, right? So it's very finicky. So you have to be careful when you're pressing buttons on a Samsung Chromebook is what I have. All right, so 2 things I want to point out. Now, he really gave 4 nuggets regarding schema. 2 of them I'll share. The other 2 I will not, okay? But I do think, just because I don't want to, let's not rock the boat, right? All right, schema. All right, so the first order of business that he taught that I was not doing. This was new to me, and this is why it is interesting. So if you take a look at the list, as you can see here, is open the hierarchy, right? Now, I was not following the hierarchy of the page, right? Like, I knew all of the schemas, and I'm going to show you how I knew that and how I figured it out. Again, I figure out things the hard way. I probably know how to do it. I've probably definitely have done it and implemented it. But I was not aware of this particular element was a hierarchy of the page, right? There were some other tips that I knew that were pretty cool, but I'm not going to share them today. But the hierarchy, all right? So implementing a hierarchy of the page, much like this. So like you'll have your website, okay? You'll have your page, your web page, website, right? The website contains the article. The article contains the product. The product contains the brand contains the organization, and organization contains the video contains an image, right? There's a hierarchy to the schema. For me, what I was doing was just figuring out which ones can I get on the page and get away with. More notably, which one of these schemas has an enhancement? Because if every Jim, Bob, and Joey is implementing the same schema, what's the competitive advantage? However, by naming this and keeping it in a hierarchy, he had a great explanation for it. I'm sure it's somewhere out there for free. I'm sure it's on his channel. He made it make a lot of sense. So from this point forward, I will be implementing my schema with a hierarchy because I think that it's just the way to go. Also, this was very interesting today too. Since the dawn of time, right? Depending on the SERP, I've always left out my meta description. I'm not going to say anything, but the only piece I want to say is if you have not been adding it in, you're doing yourself a disservice. I used to never add it in until today, right? Even I was learning stuff today, which is why I love SEO, right? So I want to share that with you. Just know, just make sure you're getting something in there that's containing your variations. Okay. Richard Oberlin, nope, we are all here. It's all good, brother. And we are ha. Okay, no, we're on, and hopefully you can hear me. I think you can hear me, right? Everything all good? Uh-oh. Can you hear me? Can you guys hear me? Everything okay? Can I get a 1 in chat? That would be super cool. I hope that it's all good. Yes? All good, all good. Okay, cool. Thank you. All right, Greenfoot Nike, great to see you. Good evening. Let me go ahead and welcome everybody. I want to thank you for giving me some time here. I'm going to share some tips, and I'm going to go through my presentation as well. Gary Mabs, hi. Hey, Gary, good to see you. Good picture, flexing on us. Nice work, man. Lance says, hey, I need your help, my friend. He's a contractor. I wanted to create and rank a site, source out the job to him, and get a percentage. What do you think? Okay. So my friend is a contractor. I wanted to create and rank a website, source out the job to him, and get a percentage. What do you think? Account for things not going exactly to plan. All right. So whatever you think it's going to be, add another website on there, right? Like whatever you're paying for the website, factor that in. So if you're getting them built for $50, add another 50. You're getting them built for 100, add another 100. You're getting them built for 200, 250, whatever the cost of the site and implementing and putting up the site, factor that in. And the reason is because no matter what, you need to, it just always seems that nothing's ever smooth. So just, save yourself some hassle. Something's going to go wrong, brother. All right. So it sounds fine, but just make sure that you're accounting for mishaps and lack of quality personnel to implement and help work. Unless you're doing it yourself, there will be some type of issue. All right, so hopefully that helps you. All right, moving down the list here, Gary is asking, and we're going to go ahead and go through these, and then I'll cover some more tips. I'll wrap up Clint's, and then we'll. All right, so hey, Chris, I created 2 GMBs, one for the TLD keyword specific subdomain, but registered both of them at the same address. Google combined the 2 GMBs because the same top level domain and address. Well, it depends on the variation of the brand, the category, and then what pages were you sending them to. Generally there must have been some type of other mishap, and it might have been a weird or spicy niche, right? Like was it some type of spammy or niche? Because you will sometimes run into this. All right. So this is quite normal. I've never seen it, but I have heard people complaining about this type of thing before. All right. So, however, the keyword phrase seems to have been boosted in GMB SERPs as a result. Perhaps a tip here. Well, if it's been boosted and you have one top level domain and keyword specific subdomain, but they're registered both at the same address. Yeah, maybe subfolders, maybe they're hip to the subdomains, maybe there wasn't enough variation. You know, it was the same category, just going to a different page. I mean, there's a number of reasons why Google does what they do. So it's very hard for me to give you a very particular answer because I've seen so many different use cases like, hey, this happened here, this happened here. Could be a million reasons. Just know from this point forward, you know, I'll take it as a warning. You can take it as a warning. Subdomains utilizing the same brand at the same location might not be the best idea, right? But I really don't have. I'm sorry, brother. I don't have anything more than that. But I have heard of this. It hasn't happened to me personally, but I have seen it in the past. All right, Digital Lair. Yep, it is called Digital Lair. Again, Clint Butler. He was dropping some stuff that I knew, but definitely there was a lot of questions. I was judging the talks by the amount of questions. It seemed to me that the better the talk, the more the questions, right? So that was really good. So let's go down to here. Nike foot, yes. All right, plan B, laugh out loud. Yes, exactly, David. So I can't say that enough. So let's go ahead and, all right, so Clint Butler. So again, he was doing in hierarchy, but here's one more tip that he gave. I won't give the other tips that he laid out, but this is something that I knew, but I think that it would be helpful for me to go ahead and share this with you. The hierarchy I was not implementing, right? Even though it's right here plain as day on the site. One page per theme. Okay, so let's come over here, and what we're going to do is we're just going to search for web page schema. Okay, I just want to point something out to you. Okay, so we're just going to come over here. I just want to share this with you so you know the items that you should be adding to your page. If you take a look at this, if you take a look here at basically the web page, okay, the types of schema that can be implemented for the web page. All right, there's also a master list, but this is the web page. This is thing. There's tons of them, but what you're gonna find is when you're looking at your types, see expected types, whether you're looking at the master list or you're looking at any of the lists, things that you can add, and this might be common sense. It was common sense for me. That's why I probably found it. I didn't see the hierarchy thing. That's Clint's credit. But what I will say is this. I did notice that there's text. When you're looking at the master list, you'll see that it will say text, text, text. This is how you'll know that you can actually add it straight into the JSON LD. All right. So again, here, let's take a look at the master list. So SCHE schema.org master list. Let me just go ahead and share this with you so you can actually get a feel for it, what I'm talking about. So here's the docs. Here's the item list. And then see how it says text here? And this is how you'll know that it can actually be implemented into the page. So make sure you're following the hierarchy of how a page should actually be formatted. And then aside from that, please take note of, hey, what is Google expecting here? And that's another valid point. Let me go ahead and share that with you. It's something that I was doing, so I don't mind sharing it. So the text, make sure you're giving it stuff that's supposed to be accepted, but more importantly also, don't only test within rich snippets, but back check against another tool. You want to make sure that what you're implementing is not only A-OK from schema, but is Google seeing it? Because just because schema is saying, hey, looking good, make sure you're checking it on Google. All right, so that's a very valid point. And Clint, thank you very much for the hierarchy structure. I thought that was pretty cool. Yeah, I know it's right there on their website, but it's pretty cool that you pointed that out to everybody. So let's go to the next element. TED, I already told you guys about that one, about the RTC video. Now, I wasn't particularly looking at that. I was looking at the types of browsers and the agents, but I like that he added that piece in, like, hey, they're checking these browsers for features. I thought that was pretty cool. I didn't think of that. I was just looking, hey, what's like the user agents? Is this natural? What's the IP range? Kyle was doing basically silos. Now, another person that was up today that I wrote down was Lee, right? Lee Witcher. So he's within the group that I belong to. I produce trainings in there. Now, a lot of what he had to share today was testing data, right? This is their flagship product, right? So I don't think I'm at the liberty to share what he had to share, because I know that it was testing data within their group. I can't share that. I just can't. I'm sorry. It's against the rules, right? It's not it's stuff that I know. Here's one thing because I've shared this before. So here's something that Lee shared today. It's something that I knew. I've even made a video on it, but I'll refresh you on it. But Lee, this is one of the pieces that Lee shared today that was from tests. I figured this one out the hard way. But what he did and what he was talking about, maybe not him, probably within the group, but maybe he did it. I don't know if it was his standalone test. But what he was doing was extending the amount of the title tag. Now, I have a video on this from probably a year and a half ago, maybe 2 years ago. I don't know, about a year ago. I made a video regarding the title tag and also the meta descriptions, right? I figured these out by accident personally, and then I made videos on it. But in any case, he took it a step further. All right. So I've already made the video on this. But what he did is he actually stuffed in hundreds of different keywords and variations into the title tag, to some degree of success. Now, I'm not saying that you should do that. And just because you can do something doesn't mean that you should, right? But what that tells me, and I made a video on this literally probably a year and a half ago, so it's nothing new for us, right? But it's a cool refresher, right? So I don't mind sharing it. But he dropped a couple cool little bombs. One of these things I did not know. So he dropped 5 bombs. One of them I didn't know at all, right? You might catch a video, not today, on this another day, a standalone video, right? So yeah, extending the title tags for multiple dozens of keywords, namely towns and cities, and as long as they're semantically related, heavily semantically related, he's able to pull in and index those keywords. And again, I made a video on this about a year and a half ago, maybe a year and a half now, regarding this very thing. I didn't go to the extent of putting 100 keywords in there, but hey, who's counting? I was figuring out, hey, can I put, when Google truncates the title, truncate means ... When I put keywords at the end, I figured out that, hey, I'm still getting credit for these keywords. He took it way further. So there's only 5 people on, but what's really interesting here, hey, William, my brother, what's up, man? Dude, I truly appreciate that gift that you sent, man. Thank you for that, man. That means a lot. Small little thing like that, man, that's pretty cool, man. It's cool that you were thinking of me, man. I appreciate you, bro. But yeah, a couple little NFG nuggets. I want to bring back what I was sharing today. Good to see you, William, or Google My Business SEO. Now, what I'd like to do now is I want to go ahead and get into the presentation that I taught today. All right. So what we're going to do is we're going to get into the actual presentation that I taught today. One of the things that I did today, I did two of them, right? And what I did live was validated and verified a GMB property. Okay. I'm not going to utilize, because I know that there's only so many on this account, but I will maybe, I don't know. Let me think about it. I might walk through some of that today, right? There's like nobody here. So let's see here. But what I'm going to do is I'll go through my presentation because today was my day as well. All right. So let's go over here to the drive. And we will get into this right here. Okay. All right. So here is my presentation. Okay. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to scroll on down here. And you could tell I gave up last night. I was like, eh. So what we're going to do is we're just going to insert these images that I meant. I was really sad because these images were not here last night, but that's okay. All right. So we did utilize this. Now I've shared this publicly, but what I was giving was a piece of my process. Okay. So I'll start from the very beginning. I'll just present like I did today. I might leave out some things because obviously it was on the cuff. I didn't read from a script. I never do. I don't edit my videos. Everything is straight from the noggin, right? I do this. See, and that's another piece. Like, I get asked this a lot, and it's like I was literally a freelancer taking any job that I could. I've worked on Fiverr and had hundreds of gigs. I worked on Upwork when it was actually easy to get in there. I've been moderators on forums. Like, I literally, like, I've taken clients at any cost. Like, dude, I went through all of that, until I was able to get a successful affiliate site rolling to make sure that my bills were paid, along with my wife working, doing the auction was starting to become successful for her. And I had a successful amount coming in. I was able to support myself, the two kids, my wife. She only gets one auction a month, right? So it took us a long time to get to this point. So, I'm just blessed, right? That I've been able to get to be able to do this, right? The affiliate sites have helped. I've had a lot of failures, right? I'm cut from the same cloth as pretty much the people that watch me, right? So I get that, that's all. So in any case, who am I? All right. Now, I actually wrote here, no story, just tips. And the reason is because I know you do not necessarily care who I am. You want to know how I can help your business. But a raise of hands, is there anyone out there that knows who I am? Like, does anybody actually know who I am? I ask this. I would say a quarter of the room raised their hands. So in any case, my name is Chris Palmer. I've been in the SEO industry for over a decade. I run a small agency with my lifetime best friend, Eric. We run a small specialized SEO agency specializing in small to medium businesses that have multi-location. And I prominently focus on performance. It's performance commission-based SEO. That's really what I do, right? That's our main focus. I'm very selective. It's either multi-location and it's generally performance-based. I like performance-based, right? Working towards a goal, right? The payoff is exponential. Aside from that, a lot of the money that I will make from client work, the stuff that's left over, I consider that investment into affiliate properties. My bread and butter, Eric and I's bread and butter, is from a domain that we bought that was already on its way. So like, and I've tried dozens of other projects that were complete failures. Even with all the knowledge, see, I didn't have all the knowledge going into particular spaces. That's where I learned, hey, I don't really like e-com. You know, like I've tried different niches within affiliate. What I have found is low amounts of hands in the pot. Only work with people you truly trust. Don't take product up front. Like I've learned a lot of lessons, right? To become very happy with my current situation, working with small to medium businesses. I work a lot of times performance-based, but I'm looking for multi-location businesses. Along with that, I've been really leaning more towards affiliate, all right? So that's who I am. Now, my only goal from this talk is I need you to walk away with actionable techniques that you can literally maybe add into your process in order to get more traffic, leads, and ROTI. Now, I wrote ROTI because time investment is far more important than money investment. Money, we can gather. Time, it's priceless. So when I personally invest my time, I want to make sure that it's totally worth it. Now, the main goal of this talk to fit in with, you know, Brad and Mike's criteria was and the reason why I got invited was my talk fit into what they were really teaching, which was entities. So really, that was the name of the talk. Entities matter. I work heavily with entities for all of my clients. Every client that I take in, right? It's a small number, but we have a lot of locations. A lot. I'm not going to get into any of that, but like dentists, I do some pest control, home services, lawyers, locksmiths. So I have a very diverse bunch that I work with, right? But entities matter. But really, it's not just the entities. It's actually creating entity relationships that truly matters. Now, inside of every single campaign that I work in, where it's performance-based and it's something that I'm working on, my goal is to create entity relationships. That is really what I do. Yes, I take care of the on-page. Yes, I do link building, but there's a lot of other small pieces and tweaks and elements that I do in order to reach success. So the goal of doing entity relationship building, to me, is when your brand is synonymous with a keyword. When my brand is synonymous with a keyword or a set of keywords, that's the ticket. And the best part about this type of SEO and why I incorporated this into my process, and really only recently I've put a name on it. It's always been part of the process. I've fine-tweaked it over the years, over time, right? Really in the past, say 4 years, I've really fine-tuned it. But the best part about this particular strategy, and you know as well as I do, Google loves showing their hand. They love it, right? So what I'm going to share with you is not only the how I do it, but I want to share with you how you know you're on your way to ranking long before you rank. And the best part is without doing any rank tracking or any checking, you can literally go and check this metric that I'm going to share with you. And literally you can see after you do all the work too. Like, hey, am I still in position? It's only one check of the primary keyword. Okay. So I'm going to be able to share with you a way that you're going to know right before you're about to rank this process that I follow, you'll see this. So I wanted to share with you and, of course, the group today what a successful entity relationship building looks like. I want to share that with you. Like this whole concept, the way I do SEO, I want to share with you what it looks like, and I want to show you the indicator that you're on the right path. Let me share with you what that looks like. Now, what I did for this particular example, and I have another example, but when brand is related to keyword, right? You're synonymous with a keyword. As you can see here, okay? See my name, Chris Palmer, in the entity square, right? When inside of images, my brand name, Chris Palmer, is synonymous with the word click-through rate manipulation. Now, when your brand name becomes an entity and synonymous with a keyword, you rank. Every single time. I've done this across the board for myself and for my clients. So this is a nothing keyword, and I completely understand that. But I own this keyword. I fight with Wikipedia, right? When you think click-through rate, it's me. And I'm not, I'm trying to, I just want to show this concept, okay? Now, let me, and again, I know that click-through rate has zero volume. It's a nothing keyword, but let's take my client, Locksmith Boca Raton, A. Lenny Locksmith. When brand is associated with a keyword, okay, look inside of images, Locksmith Boca Raton, A. Lenny. You've seen me on lives working on this particular project, right? If you follow my channel, you've seen me literally working on this in the early days. Well, when I can associate the brand name with the entities, poof, I rank. So this is first page within the top 4 results. But that's not what, myself and my client were after. Like, yeah, this is a cool keyword and this is a very difficult niche, but he didn't care about organic. The true goal here was Locksmith Boca Raton, are we in the map pack, yes or no? That's what the client wants to know, and I'm sure you know this. And when you're doing performance-based SEO, you and I know that it's all about the click-through rate, it's all about conversion, it's about increasing the traffic overall. But when you get a client, you know as well as I do, they only care about 3, 4, 5, maybe 10 keywords. They want to know, do they rank? When they talk to their wife or they talk to their husband at the end of the day, hey, is your business, when they search for their keyword or their brand name, they want to be on the first page. That's what a client, because they don't know about SEO. They know if their phone is ringing and are they ranking for the keywords that they want. That's performance-based SEO for me, right? And I'm not a pro, or I just know it works for me and for my clients, right? So what I'm getting at is this helps with everything. Because if you're able to associate your customer or your client's brand name with a keyword, it helps you rank. Now, when you target this main keyword, when you can make this synonymous association between entity, keyword, which is really your brand is the entity, your brand name is the entity, and this keyword, you're making sure that you're tuning for the largest keyword. And the reason is when I'm trying to aim for the flipping moon, hey, if I hit the stars, it's okay. And generally, when you go really broad for a big keyword, like I know this isn't a high volume, but this has high competition. If you can get this primary, it's Locksmith Boca Raton. Generally, what tends to happen is when you're fine-tuned for a very large keyword, a broad match keyword, a hard keyword, you generally, all boats rise, right? All boats rise with tide. Every boat. So if I can tune my page and make this association and get these entity relationships happening, and I'm going to walk through the how in a minute here, but once I can accomplish this, I can rank not only for the primary keyword that my client is looking at and is going to make them happy for the next month, but it's also going, I know as an SEO that, hey, if I can get this and accomplish this goal, I'm also it's going to make my whole SEO campaign that much easier. And that's why this is so important. This was the big piece. Like, yeah, I walked through how to do an instant verification today, but this right here, how I do this, was the big piece that I wanted to give today. And this is a very powerful strategy that I'm going to lay out for you. All right. This will help your business guaranteed. So, how to build entity relationships to increase rank. Now, I say rank because when I say rank, when I'm building the entity relationships, I'm doing it at scale. Yes, I rank for my big keyword, the main keyword, the one that my client's always looking at. But I know if I can push out enough, when I pull that in, it's going to make everything else that much easier. So the key to doing this, right? So how to build these entity relationships to rank, the key, the magic key or the potion or the strategy, the technique, the hack, the tip, whatever you want to call it, the method. What I do, it's all about three things: quantity, massive quantity, variation, and validation. Quantity is the amount, variation is how many different keywords am I targeting, and the validation comes from an actual user. When I can get enough quantity with enough variation and have it validated by real users, I get the entity relationship and I rank. Every single time, any client, doesn't matter the niche, as long as they have the budget and they're not in a hurry. Sometimes this takes months, but I know that this is the goal. This is what I work towards. Now, what I want to go ahead and do is I want to, before we get into the actual tactics and how I accomplish this goal, I must first give you the understanding, or I should say the overstanding of what an entity is. So for normals, and pardon my French here, anybody that's not an SEO, to me, this is my humble opinion, I consider a normal person, right? An entity is simply just a noun, a person, a place, or a thing, right? And as you can see here, I took a screenshot. Literally, I typed in the word entity, and this is what Google gave me, a dictionary piece. It's a noun, person, place, thing, okay? That's straight from Google. Now, that's what normal people think an entity is. But the real secret here, right, is that an actual entity is anything that is given a machine code. Anything that Google gives a machine code means that it's being indexed and tracked. Everything. Now, something I tried to do today was, because as it's part of the process, right, and I'm going to share with you in another slide here, right, anything that's given a machine code, like an image, a video, an audio file, and GMBs, anything that's given these machine codes is A, indexed, B, cached, C, tracked by Google. Google, again, is a search engine. Their job is to index and find things, whether they're showing it to you or they're not. Is it forward facing or is it inverted, right? At the end of the day, though, this is Google's job. But these elements are the most powerful for us as SEOs. Images, just note this, videos, audio files, and of course GMBs, because I'm primarily in the local space and I love GMB, okay? So what I have found is anything that's given a machine code or indexed, and I wanted to make this point to you, because yes, these are the entities that matter to us, image, video, audio file, and GMB, but it's also anything that's indexed. So that's anything that's given a machine code and indexed, Google is tracking and they're keeping a note of. Everything. So when you're doing a search for anything that you want, it's a business. Let's say you're a business owner. Let's say that you're a chiropractor, okay? I don't know, in Florida, okay? So if you're a chiropractor in Florida, all right, let me go ahead and share this with you. And we take a look. Now, this was a SERP. All I'm looking at is the source code for the SERP, all right? So bear with me here. Let me share this with you. So again, an entity is anything that's given a machine code and that is indexed and tracked or cached. Anything that Google keeps track of matters for moving the needle. Everything, even queries. So let me just share this with you. So if we do a Control F and we go to, oh, let's come on over here. All right, so take a look at this. So when you come inside of here, when we take a look at the webcache.googleusercontent.com, it's a search. As you take a look here, this web cache, this search has been assigned a query or meta, a machine code. Every search is being tracked and it's been given a machine code. Why? Because every search influences the next search. That's all I'm going to say about that. This right here, this is a game changer. When I figured this piece out, it changed my whole SEO campaign. This is big. Now, this wasn't the actual search that I did here. It's this one up here. It's not the one I highlighted. But they have assigned a machine code. That means this is going to be indexed. It's initially in the cache, but this will be placed into a log. This is being held for later. Google will refer back to this. If there's a particular page, right, a search query is now a page that is indexed, regardless if it's in the search results or not. This query is a page on Google. Google is a website just like yours. They now have a new page for this query. When enough people keep doing the same page, the same page, the same page, the same page, what do you think Google is going to do to that page? What do you think? They're going to rank it higher. Why? Because there's more people. This has been indexed over and over and over and over and over and over. This must be a popular search string. This must be a popular term, because it doesn't have to be chiropractor in Florida, right? It could be the best chiropractor in Florida. Add your zip code, your street, your competition. But the key here, though, is you can only put 12 keywords inside of a string. Once you break more than 12 keywords, they no longer cache and index it. I know this because I've tested it. If your string exceeds more than 12 separate keywords, it does not have the same effect. If you go check the source code, it might have a cache, but it's not going to have that last piece. Also, too, and I know this too, when I'm manipulating machine codes or string codes for maps, it's the same exact thing. It will not pull up the knowledge panel if I do more than 12 different keywords in that string. So I just want you to keep this in mind. Even a search is being indexed. Enough people are looking for the same query over and over and over and over. This is a popular query. If your brand is mentioned in that query over and over and over and over and over again, just think to yourself, what do you think the effect is going to be? Now, this is literally a diagram of exactly what we just talked about. If you take a look at this particular graph here, I showed this a while ago. This was back in May I did this, okay? This is one that I've done publicly, all right? If you take a look here, you can see the normal range of this particular Google My Business property. When you're taking a look at the normal range here, you can see that this is your baseline. It was like that for months. I didn't even touch it. Now, all of a sudden, for a 3-day window, I did more than this. I initiated more queries than this, more searches than this. I did way more searches than this, to the tune of 7,000 plus per day for 3 days. Now, when we're dealing with particular proxies and services and bots and user agents and all kinds of crazy stuff, and Google Search Console or Google Insights is notoriously unreliable, right? I know that I did way more than this, but this is what it's accounting for. But still, this is way abnormal. But this isn't what matters. As you can see here, after the 3-day campaign, and yes, I did force in some validated traffic. If you follow me, you know what that is. But we then had a period. It just so happened to be the same amount of time as when I ran the queries. There was a period of flatline. And then from that point forward, I was then being tested for more queries. And when I went and I checked inside my insights, it just so happened to be the queries that I kept running my searches for. You don't believe me? Go try it out. In any case, that's the end of this. Now let's talk about how do we get this association, because this is where the magic happens. The validation is the piece that I just shared with you, right? People is what actually validates for you, okay? It's not a matter of opinion. This is a fact. If you want to validate a property, there's no better way to validate it other than a GMB and to get validated traffic from a trusted property to your property. Period, end. One of my favorites to use recently has been the Google My Business site, because the business site is treated much differently than a Google site. Yes, it's a Google property, but it's looked at differently. This is an actual true entity out in the wilderness. It's not like the Google sites that have been smacked to death. These perform and act much different. If you've worked with both of these properties, you probably know this already. You're probably like, tell me something I don't know, Chris. I'm trying to give you, again, when I started this talk, I wanted you to be able to walk away with literally actionable tips that you can utilize inside of your business to move the needle and get more calls, leads, and literally help your business and your family. That's it. That is my only goal here. I wanted to share a piece of what works for me with you. So let me go ahead and walk you through how I accomplished. I showed you the traffic portion, remember? Because there's three things that matter when we're trying to do this. If you take a look here, again, I write them all down. It's quantity. So the quantity is created, and I've shared this in my past YouTube video. I don't have SEMrush on this particular computer, and I don't remember the password right now. But if you go into your SEMrush account and look inside the keyword magic tool, okay, there's a way to separate the keywords, and you can separate them by question. What I do is I take the biggest, shortest keyword, okay? So let's say it's my guy is trying to win pest control, okay? Oh, actually, I'm not working with that guy anymore. So say my guy in Boca Raton. So say Boca Raton locksmith. It's actually locksmith Boca Raton, but it's neither here nor there. And yes, that does matter how it's laid out. So Boca Raton locksmith. When I'm using